Drop that bitch on her head like bang.
What's going on, everybody? Fire Up Fridays. Another week down. We had some Thanksgiving in the middle of the week. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Hope they all had good turkey, good food. Hope everyone cooked everything the way it was supposed to be cooked. Here we are again. Topic of this Friday night chat is the pyramids. I mean, they're right in front of our face. They've always been in front of our face. They've always been there since mankind's known it. Where the fuck did they come from? Who built those fucking things? Aliens? Superhumans? Like, I'm talking about like the 10 foot tall humans, or just regular ass humans. You know, it's always been something to me that has been just curious, something amazing. These huge ass structures, and it just falls on that conspiracy list of what they're telling us, what they think it is. But without further ado, let's welcome the chat, everybody. Let's see. Got Jen. She's up in here. Three fingers. Good to see you. Dom, always pleasure. Smith, look like you made some comments. Our poll. There's our poll. Rebecca Joe, thank you. Thank you for your comment on my community chat. I appreciate it. Try to be as real as I can. No need to fake about shit. Just become real with it. Hey, dumbass. There you are. What's up, Cynthia? Small town girl. I've been seeing you around some chats. Good to see you. Austin Murphy. Good to see you, sir. Simple Jack. There you are, bud. There you are. Who's that? Bad Barney. There he is. Mike Zadunik. Jesus, I'm gonna try it again. Mike Zadunik. Maybe that's close. I don't know, Mike. Butchered it. Whatever, bro. But yeah, no. So did a little stream on Monday. It was pretty cool. Never really streamed during the day, so I was just kind of, using up some of my free StreamYard hours because they alerted me that I was getting full with it. But I got my first guest here. I got Jesse. What's going on, Jesse?
Hi, brother. How's it going?
Typical Friday night. Hanging out, trying to be a chill evening. Keep the drama out in the streets while we're up in here in the bar, having a good time.
So, are you expecting some excitement like last week?
I turned chat subscriber mode on just in case, but I don't think anyone ever really expects it. That was kind of odd, kind of strange. So, yeah, and even when I went back and looked at all the numbers that it said that the most I had was 125 viewers, was the most concurrent viewers at a time. And,
wow.
And then that following morning, I woke up to over 1,000 new subscribers, which that very same morning throughout the day, the numbers just kept dropping. So I started that stream last Friday. I had 227 subscribers. And just today I'm at like 302 or something. So it's kind of back to normal,
What do you make of it all? Like, what's your thoughts? Like, any idea like what happened there? And
well, I tried because someone said that Brother Sanchez TV gave me the stream a shout out, and what's his name? The MMA fighter dude. Oh shit, can't think of his name. Someone will probably say in the chat they know the hell I'm talking about. But apparently he had mentioned something as well. But I don't know, only because they wrote it in the chat. They were saying it in the chat, and then there was a bunch of fucking crazy names in the chat. But going over the analytics, a lot of it was from Brazil. Like normally, most of my viewers are from the United States and like the UK and Canada, but most of them were like, Brazil and all these other countries that I had never seen on any of my stats before. So I got hit with something. I don't know. It was kind of fucking weird. So seems like we're back to normal. Seems like it anyway.
If they did mention you out, like the people said in the chat, because I remember, then the analytics would have been a lot higher, probably, right? Like, it would have been, 2, 3, 400 at a time if it was really because they were saying, but it was just strange to, yeah, Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was because you would think that the number, if it was actually like real people coming from somewhere, that the numbers, would have, kind of, reflected that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of crazy. It kind of was. I was high, so I'm seeing all these ridiculous numbers. And it was pretty crazy. But you knew something was up. Like once I've got past 70 and then to 80, because the most I ever had, I think, when Zetetic Warrior came on for a show, we were like 65 was our peak, and we were holding around 45, 50 average. And once it went over 100, I was like, something's not right. What's going on here? My little 200 subscriber channel, should not be having this many people, in it. And just like you were saying, like, where's the subs at? Sub it up. Let's go. And so yeah, it was quite. It was cool at first, but I knew kind of quick, something wasn't right. But I don't know. I mean, I heard suggestions of people saying, when you talk about these conspiracy theories or just these topics in general, people try to do something either to promote it or to de-promote it, try to, I don't know. I mean, we do talk about some shit that most people don't talk about. So, but yeah, I don't know.
What's the topic tonight?
Talking about the pyramids, man. Like, just recently I've been seeing a lot of videos, and not that honestly, I'll be honest with everybody. I try to, at the end of my last Friday show, I'll spend the weekend. I'll kind of think, all right, what do I want to talk about next Friday? What's going on? And, without jumping on panels or seeing what people are talking out throughout the week. I did a 5G show that I was trying to show that night. We were bombarded with all those viewers. Really didn't get to it. So I kind of just ran that video Monday afternoon. And, so that was a pretty good video. But so I was thinking, well, what else is interesting me? I've seen a lot of is this pyramid talk, and a lot of crazy numbers. You hear about, just the feet of hundreds of miles away is where these the type of rock they're using is, and how they're perfectly cut so well, and how the hell do they travel them that far, and millions of these lots of millions of these boulders. And I can think they could stack them pretty good. I mean, I think at any point in time someone would know how to put 4 stakes in the ground and basically create a square and just build a triangle off of that. I don't think there's too much in that, but it's the whole feat of cutting them and how long it would have taken us cutting them. So are we not as advanced as a civilization who's done it back then? Did we have a big wipeout? Did we all just basically world event make us go back to zero, and we're just trying to pick up where we started, which could definitely be possible, and now they're apparently seeing these pyramid shapes, unearthing in Antarctica, under the snow, these perfectly squared looking pyramids in the mountains. So we've seen them all over the world. What the hell? Where does this make sense? And I haven't seen anything. Not that I've honestly looked overly too hard. I try to, scratch the surface on things before I start digging into stuff. But it really is just, it is weird to see these pyramid type structures, even like the ones in like the Amazon, their steps, and they look like homes, where they built because of water levels. Who knows? Like, I mean, really, you have theory, but no one really knows. So that's why it just kind of interests me. So just wanted to see if it interests anybody else, and if people have insights on it, we can chit chat about it. I got a few TikToks and some shorts feeds that kind of quickly go into some crazy numbers. Excuse
Do you
me.
think do you think most people would agree that, most, if not all of history has been altered, or there's lots of deception, there's lots of things that don't make sense? Like, is that something that you agree on, that, that history is a lot of it is maybe even BS?
Oh, well, I mean, if you even study any kind of history or have studied it, and then you hear new information about history, like, wasn't it just only a few years ago they were trying to tear down all these statues of our early American, pioneers, and you know, basically trying to wipe them off the history map. So I have to assume that humans are humans, no matter what decade or time period is. They're all, you're always going to have a dichotomy between people who are for it and people who aren't for it. So, yeah, 100%. We are used to kind of believing what we're told or believing what we read, and then as just time goes on, you can see some things aren't exactly the way that they said it was. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I definitely believe that, man. That's a good question.
What do you think about the mud floods? Because, I think that like the Tartaria mud floods, something is flooded. Maybe history, like you said, they were advanced before. Maybe explains why some of these, structures would be more advanced. And one of the theories I have is that, when people start to remember, when we start to remember who we are, the power inside, that we don't want to be the slaves anymore. That's kind of what they maybe bred us for, is that they need to reset things, and that's they do these global resets. And here's maybe another time when they're going to have to reset things, because people are with technology and people are starting to remember who and what they are, that they may have to reset things again.
Yeah, resets are definitely something I'm on board with. I think we've seen it. What's going on, Mitchell?
Hey man, I'll be chill and quick. I just wanted to give a perspective on this a little bit. It's interesting. I'm into a book by Connor McDarry called Irish Wisdom Preserved in Bible and Pyramids. And it basically talks about how, this, like you guys were just talking about, culture, probably not too distant history, that's been manipulated and destroyed, so it's I think my perspective is, I think it's, man that built it, with just like ancient, knowledge that has, that's still around, but it's, being held by certain controllers or whatever you want to call it, that are, you know, allegedly preserving the history, but in my opinion, manipulating it to fit their fantasies and narrative. So yeah, there's my little conspiratorial mind and perspective on it, but I thought I'd throw that out there. Thanks for having me up.
Right on, brother. Yeah, I can agree with that. Thinking that humans as of today, 2023, going on 2024, that we are just the most advanced beings that ever been on this planet. We really have no knowledge of that. When you look at these pyramids, and I put a poll in the chat here. Was it aliens? Was it superhumans? Were just regular ass humans? It could have been just regular ass humans. They were just so far advanced that we got wiped out, and that's kind of what was left behind. And it kind of seems that way, but again, it's all opinion on history, and history that we don't even know. So yeah, that definitely jives with what I feel. What about you, Jesse?
Well, the big thing is these stones are so heavy. So how did they move these stones, with horse and cart, and these, 10,000 pound or 100,000 pound stones, however big and heavy these stones are.
80
And so
tons.
there's 80
Some are
tons.
80 tons.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
how did, a bunch of humans with horse and cart and ropes move this stuff and put it into place? So there's a couple theories. One is there's the guy in, I believe he's in Florida. He's like Coral Mountain or something, and he was able to move these stones, and he figured how to levitate things with frequencies. So that's a possibility, having some kind of, ancient technology, knowledge how to move, levitate things. But also Dr. Kent Hovind, he was on The Missing Link, and he talks about before the flood, there was a lot more oxygen in the air. And when there was a lot more oxygen in the air, things grew bigger. The animals were bigger, the people were bigger. So if the people were giants, they were bigger. Maybe they could take 4 guys, could move that 80-ton stone if they're, like 50 feet tall or whatever it may be. So those are kind of 2, possible theories.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
see people throwing some theories in here about acoustics, frequencies, using sound waves, to move stuff. I mean, I've built some really high powered stereo systems. I have a very high powered stereo system in my truck, and I don't know if I could move an 80-ton boulder hundreds of miles, to a location. I've been seeing something new about how they were using these type of reservoirs, or aqueducts. Maybe they're somehow floating them. That makes sense if there was rivers or water was abundant. They could float them there. That, of course, that would be easier. That seems like easy technology. But yeah, I'm curious about maybe looking into this frequency deal, because we do a lot of testing with low frequency, high frequency stuff. But that's another definite interesting route to kind of look, to make something more just plausible. Like you just wrap your head around it. I watched the video of this kid who climbed up to the top to a pyramid. He got in trouble, whatever. But man, they are high. Like they're up there. Like how do you keep things square, and how do you get things, are these big ass rocks all the way up there, and then engineer interior walls and corridors and passageways and stuff like that. So it definitely, it's something that we can see every day, and it's something that no one's ever seen built, you know, and they're still there. So, like, I remember being a kid, them talking about King Tut's tomb, and they would find like a new, just coffin, or just something was new, and you got kind of excited, and it brings that exploration back to life. Like, we really have. When is the last time we heard of anybody exploring anything? Or finding something new, or discovering something, world changing new. You know what I mean? So, welcome, Smith.
Thanks. Good evening.
How's it going, bud? I seen you commented earlier about the pyramid. Do you think that has something to do with a religious aspect, some type of religious power, something along those
Well,
lines?
so I saw you had the poll there, and I didn't have the 4th choice that I wanted, but the 4th one would be that I think it's the Freemasons. And what are Freemasons represented by? 33 and a third. And how many fell from heaven? 1/3. It's the fallen angels, the Nephilim. I think they
Yeah.
are the ones that built them.
On that note, I want to say one more thing, and I'll dip out. I think it's what the Freemasons basically worship Egypt, um, whatever that's called, that Egypt culture. But I want to call it that religion, but I don't even know what to call it. Egyptian mythology, but essentially, I think that's what the Freemasons are geared towards, and I think they are the ones who hijacked and corrupted that knowledge. That's just my perspective of it. I think it was around before them, and I think the Sphinx was like a lion or something that carved into the Sphinx. That's
Well,
just
yeah,
my
it's on our
wild
Makes no
currency
attitude.
sense.
too.
There's pyramids on every continent.
Exactly. There's pyramid. It's not just in Egypt. They're all over the world. And
Yeah, but that's like the main one, like the Great Pyramid. That. But yeah, that's all right, man. Thanks for having me up. All right, I'm out.
all right,
Peace.
Mitchell.
I
Thank you,
agree with
bud.
you, Mitch. Take care.
Yeah, so they're all over all over the world, and we'll just say world. You will loosely call it the world, but is it the same? architecture, is it mimicked? Did someone see it and say, or see them being built? Did someone travel and say, hey, this is how you guys build it? So, dating them and judging them, it's kind of, it just makes you wonder, like, how in the hell, do they all, get where they're, where do they get their info? You know what I mean? Building technique, where does that come from? So yeah, pretty strange stuff. But I want to play some shorts. I'm sure everyone's probably seen them, but let me play this one here.
We also interviewed a guy that said everyone is actually mathematically perfect. Like, the way they're all in the
Mhm.
same direction. Some people believe that their energy, they're actually energy creators. Like, before it had electricity, they actually harness the energy. So it's interesting if they're all over, the world, and they were actually maybe creating energy for those civilizations to be able to have lights and power tools or whatever they had at that time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you try to, if you're on the idea that there was a big wipeout, who's knows what kind of technology they had? Who knows how long that maybe they've been around before current humans had evolved into what we are today. But um, it is extremely entertaining watching some of these YouTube shorts or TikTok videos of just the numbers. And now, mind you, like I said, I haven't gone through and 100% research. So I'm sure there may be someone out there that is a lot more educated on me. And like I said, I am admitting I haven't dug very deep into this. It's just the in general, pyramids is just, man, it's kind of mind boggling. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this one clip. It's about a minute.
Stones in it. Some of them the weigh between 2 and 80 tons. Some of them are cut from a quarry that's hundreds of miles away. These things point, that pyramid is shaped perfectly. Like, if you fucked up like a quarter inch there, a half inch here, by the time you get to the top, that thing's a mess. But meanwhile, it's not. It's perfect. It's also perfectly aligned to true north, south, east, and west. And they're not really sure how old it is. They think they date it to 2500 BC, but that's just because of organic particles that they pulled from inside stones. But they also say that they probably could have sealed those stones and resealed those stones over time. You're dealing with like a gigantic mystery of unfathomable proportion. I've read
Yeah, so if that doesn't get you started, like, I want to look into this, or, can I find some more friends that can, get on board with me about it? It's definitely pretty interesting. Here's another one. This one is off of YouTube. Oh man, my mouse is doing some crazy stuff. It's acting like it's going slow motion. 1 second, catch up there, bitch.
In weight to 35 large SUVs. These 70-ton granite beams have been elevated to a height of more than 350 feet above the ground and carefully and precisely placed in position. It is very hard for archaeologists to explain how it's done using purely leverage and mechanical advantage. You can say perhaps they built a ramp and hauled the stones up the ramp. But then you have to confront basic laws of physics. You can't haul a stone weighing tens of tons up a slope that exceeds 10 degrees. Then you start doing the calculation. How long a ramp do I need with a 10-degree slope to get to 350 feet above the ground? And the answer is you need a long ramp, which should still be there, because it couldn't have been a sand ramp. It would have collapsed under the weight of those stones. It had to be as massive as the pyramid itself. And these.
Yeah, so a lot of theories, a lot of ideas. Building ramps and building like an ascending stairwell all the way up, and then tearing it down all the way down. There's so many different techniques that possibly could have been used, and I've seen videos where people have tried currently to create how do we move this big ass rock, and I guess anything, if it's something that you want or test to do, there's a reason that they made them like that. it's hard to fathom that people, well, humans anyway, could have done a type of feat like that. So very interesting.
Almost perfectly aligned to what is called true north. Still think it's a coincidence? Well, did you know that the Great Pyramid sides are on the exact line of the equator? And the 3 pyramids of Giza are perfectly aligned to match the belt of Orion. When you look at all the facts, it doesn't take a genius to understand that whoever built the most accurately aligned structure on Earth was not a simple people group using primitive methods, but incredibly intelligent workers. Did you know that the Great Pyramid...
So I see this frequency coming up. All right, let me go ahead and look this up real quick.
I posted you on the back chat too. It's an awesome channel. It's a short from his channel, but he has like an 8-part series, and it's fascinating if people have time sometime. UBTV.
Let's see here. Pyramids were built using principle resonance, harnessing high frequency energy from the Earth's interior to create a powerful vibration. Now, see, the only thing because I know a lot about vibration and frequency is, the higher frequency, it destroys shit. It makes things crumble. It rips metal, breaks glass. Let me see here. Here's one.
There is some very strange water experiments you can do with frequencies, and you can set it down on plates and make some really cool stuff too.
It all cheaps
Look at
out.
that.
It's
So the
really cool.
electricity running into the water makes
Well,
it do that
it's
spiral?
sound, really.
That's
It's not even
sound.
Oh, it's
electricity.
sound.
Vibration.
This is
Oh.
the spout is connected to a speaker. The speaker is being controlled by an oscillation thing.
Oh.
But if you do all the hertz, you can see it.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
What is the
And this is just one experiment for this. There's a lot of other really, really cool ones.
there's the ones that run through all the frequencies, and you have these the balanced frequencies, which is I'm messing up the frequencies right now. I can't remember. TBI. I just blame it on TBI. I've been smoking another joint. The it changes shapes, so it goes into like this hexagram and all these different shapes.
Yeah,
depending on what
different
frequency
patterns.
is. So if you change a frequency, the patterns change.
Right.
And so if it can do that, and then that's what I was talking about prayer and churches and singing.
Yeah, Jeff. So, if it matches the frequency of the object, that's a resonant frequency. And I know that quite well because when I measure the resonant frequency of my windshield, it shatters and destroys. So I try to I try to stay away from that unless someone's paying me to replace my windshield. But
Even if that covers how they move it, well, then how'd they get a speaker to put that much frequency out? How are they producing that much frequency?
I don't know. Like I said, you have to generate a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have videos, and tons of videos of my truck playing, and if I stay away from a certain frequency range, I won't, my windshield won't break, nor will, major damage. But when I play like 25 hertz, like they were just showing in that water video, 25 hertz, you don't really hear it. The subwoofers are just going like this, and they're just generating air, basically, and everything is just blown around. My doors are just smacking, and actually the sheet metal is starting to rip. It's pretty sick, but I need to wrap my head around this idea of the frequency because it's a new theory, I guess, for me anyway. Clearly, everyone's a little more sped up than I am, but I definitely would like to know like how they would be able to do that. Whether if it's vibrating and maybe is it making like the boulder levitate enough to where they can just easily just push it along? How are they generating enough resonant frequency to move something, which is definitely plausible. I mean,
to me, it's kind of like the Mandela effects with how they alter books that you've owned in your house. How do you know things like that? It's signs and lying wonders to me. I see Piney Crosscut there is talking about Coral Castle. That is fascinating, but I think it's done to make people think, oh yeah, it's doable. Who's to say he didn't just build it with a crane? I know they say he didn't, and I have seen it, but who's to say he didn't just build it with a crane so they could try to say, look, if this guy could do this by himself, why couldn't 50,000 slaves lift these blocks?
Yeah, that's like those videos that I'm sure we've all watched them. It looks like they're in the Amazon or some shit, and it's like
Yes.
two dudes or a dude building this like Oasis pool house, and then that it's just like the crop circles, was a hoax. You could see the bulldozers and excavating equipment off, when they did dug into that story about it. So yeah, I mean we're more about fooling each other lately, or as of the past turn of years. That
Well, history's written by the victors, and that's maybe why it's Freemasonry. The buildings were already here, then they just came here and claimed them. Oh yeah, Salt Lake City was built in 2 years. There's your Freemasonry. And also 2020, there was free pallets of brick. There's your Freemasonry.
Yeah, right.
Fight and conquer.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just so many theories that I don't want to beat it like like a dead horse. I guess it seems like a kind of a boring topic. About the pyramids. It's just I've always been amazed because they've always been there. I mean, there's not a lot of things we can say in our lives that's always been there. You know what I mean? We've seen a lot of things built and created through our time, but at least documented, of how things are made. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to me. What's going on, Don?
I was just at the pyramids in Mexico a couple weeks ago for my mom took me there for my 50th birthday, and we went to, I believe it was Teotihuacan in the Mayan Riviera. So I got to actually experience it, take some pictures of it, and actually got to see the pyramids up close in Mexico.
Right on.
Did you say mother-in-law? I thought you're not married.
I said my mom.
Oh, right on. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I don't know if let me see. I think Jeff just said that, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen this video of mine. Actually, this is a video. I went to a car show, and they're trying to promote it, and they wanted me to bring my truck and to blow the windshield just to kind of like have an attraction. And he paid me $150 for a new windshield. But yeah, I'll play this video real quick here.
I'm gonna go, Steve. Thanks.
All right, bud.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Jeffy. See it. If you watch the center of the windshield.
He's just teasing me right now. Playing with you.
Where it broke. Yeah, so being able to do that on command is pretty cool. The first couple times anyway, and after that it gets expensive. So that's why I kind of understand, if your frequencies, sound waves, resonance, all that stuff can be very destructive. And I would think that, using a technology like that with brick and mortar or concrete, or, if these are big slabs of stone, it probably isn't a good idea. But then again, who the fuck knows? I think they were just way smarter than what we've become. I actually think we're dumber nowadays.
Definitely.
Dumber. But
weaker as a species for sure.
100%. Yeah, so Britt is you're allowed to talk. Smith.
That can be a rare thing sometimes. Appreciate it, Britt.
There you go. Mike Mulligan moved heavy boulders.
Check out that back chat one I sent you. I think you'll find it interesting. I really do.
Let me see here.
And you can tell it in this short. It tells you pay for a donation, but if you go to his page, you can find all these videos for free. They're all like an hour long. He's really in depth.
To build things so accurately such a long time ago is frankly amazing.
They worked at speed. It took Ptolemy to make the pyramid only took 20 years to build.
Yeah, you can probably fast forward a little bit. It's got a little intro here.
Ran it down the river or up the river is a bitch. Then imagine pulling that mountain of granite up a hill of stone at over a 10% grade and slope using a rope. You must think I'm smoking. Are you
good with numbers? Yeah. Right. How much is 4,343?
Now I know Rain Man, but I know a little math. At 100 pounds per man, it would take 20 men per ton to move a block evenly distributed.
Times 1,234.
But even that assumption is physically impossible considering the details. How many men could even move that 100 pounds per man with a rope up a slope? You would need hundreds to thousands of men to move even a single block using the methods described. Men with some otherworldly balance and strength beyond the NFL, even if they had the retro 2-inch copper spiked Sand Nigga 3s on. This feat of strength requires more than a pole and the airing of grievances to manage. So even if they did create a ramp with a minimal 33 spiral slope a mile long, it would still need to be wide enough for 1,000 men to each have their turn hitting the pipe. This leads us to the question of rocks. How did they cut them bitches with such precision? And we are back with another hit from Charlatan's Web, The Diary of Murrer, or Mayrer. So whenever they need to try to prove something in history, they always seem to make a perfect discovery to fit their narrative. Similar to what happened with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And the first time I came across Harry Hubbard, he was debunking the Dead Sea Scrolls and showing how they were actually counterfeit.
It is not a good thing to discover or find or try to propagate ancient Mediterranean tombs in North America.
No,
it's not. Yeah. Okay, if you're trying to change the history of North America, you have no friends.
Yeah.
If you're trying to change the history of the world, everyone hates you.
So I just find it interesting that whenever they need something, all of a sudden the perfect piece of evidence shows up. And this evidence is the Diary of Murrer. The Diary of Mayrer is the name for papyrus logbooks written over 4,500 years ago by Mayrer, a middle-ranking official with the title inspector. They are the oldest known papyri with text dating to the 27th year of the reign of Pharaoh Khufu during the 4th dynasty. The text, written with hieroglyphics, mostly consists of the daily activities of Mayrer and his crew. The most well-preserved sections document the transportation of white limestone blocks from the Tura quarries to Giza by boat. Buried in front of man-made caves that served to store the boats at Wadi al-Jarf on the Red Sea, the papyri were found and excavated in 2013 by a French mission under the direction of archaeologists Pierre Tallet of Paris Sorbonne University and Gregory Maurard. The Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass describes the Diary of Mayrer as the greatest discovery in Egypt in the 21st century. Parts of the papyri are exhibited at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Wow, what a find. That is amazing that they found a logbook that stated, hey man, we're taking these limestone blocks from Tura to Giza by boat. So, all of our theories, they were true. Obviously, check out this diary here. End quote. Charlatan's Web. Of all the mysteries surrounding the construction of ancient Egypt, the Egyptians' ability to cut stone and sculpt.
I'm just always curious of how they cut these damn things. Like, what did they use? Or how, where's the evidence of chisels or just remnants of some excavation type tools and shaping tools? That's a lot of rock, a lot of bricks, a lot of boulders. It's crazy.
Just somewhat forgiving, but also cut granite,
which is an extremely hard surface.
How are they able to achieve symmetrical perfection by hand?
It's funny.
Some of the most elaborate and complex shapes are said to be chiseled into granite without the help of any machinery.
Well, there you go.
Grounded narrow incisions deep within the rock are assumed to have
been Jack.
made.
Hey there, Steve. How you doing?
Talking about the old pyramids.
It's such a fascinating mystery, dude.
It really is fascinating. I mean, it's kind of boring, but in a sense, it's more fascinating than anything because they're still there. You know what I mean? Depending on how old they are, whatever its guesstimation is, they're still standing.
Dare you? I would never call those boring, dude. If I got paid to do this, you know how happy I'd be to try to figure out how to do the pyramids?
Oh, you're right. Well, even that, we're all paid to do some type of job, whether it's continuing someone else's work or, creating your own stuff. But I don't know. I'm a hands-on type of guy. I'm like a man's man, working with table saws and tools and welders and mechanical, stuff. And I just don't know how they could cut these boulders from a mountain. I would assume that's where they're coming from into these perfect blocks. Maybe they're perfect. I mean, it's not like they're, making igloos and shit, where you can easily, just slice through stuff. But maybe they had some type of technology where, back then that, was just foreign to us, that they were able to just chop these many, many tonned granite rocks. Like we see how they're trying to cut it today, and maybe we're in the Stone Ages compared. It seems that way. It's hard to think that way considering all of this connectivity that we've created. We're doing right now. So
I find it sad they couldn't leave any of the tools behind. They gave us a clue, but at the same time, as a builder, I understand. Like when I leave a job site, I don't leave any tools behind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
right? Like I just thought about that. It's like, why aren't there any tools? Well, I'm a builder. I don't leave my tools behind. I take them with me.
Like I've got broken saw blades, broken drill bits, nails, screws, you name it. Cut off wheel discs that are just blown out. Like you have disposable or consumables, in construction trade. Even high expensive ones that are built to last, they still eventually fail. I was trying to find one video. They showed a boulder that they were cutting, and they stopped cutting it because it was coming off center. Mm-hmm. And they were just they couldn't figure out what they were doing to cut it, like a water jet maybe, or maybe they figured out how to use water like we use water jets. A CNC type, jet of water that would just blast through, the blocks. I don't know. It's definitely.
I have an idea on how they moved the blocks. I just don't understand why they did it. The purpose of the pyramids, I just don't understand why.
So can we entertain the ideal, guys, that if you've seen a plane somewhere in the middle of nowhere, would we be looking for the tools where those planes are, or was it just landed there? There's a good chance these pyramids were never actually made there, and they just knew how to fly things that are that heavy. It's like watching a plane that's that heavy. How does it fly? I get it. We call it an airplane, but there's a good chance those pyramids were never there. They came there. So that means they were created somewhere else. That is a possibility, guys.
Well, you know what you're saying there, Dom. It kind of, in my head, I'm thinking of density. I'm thinking of gravity. Was gravity less, 5,000 years ago? Is it getting, you know what I mean? That could definitely be an option. I've never even really considered that.
No, we're still talking the theory of gravity still. I'm leaning more towards magnetic. And then sound and frequency can actually move a lot of things. So that could be a spaceship we're looking at right now, and the sounds and frequency that comes from it can actually harmonize that thing to elevate.
And but then you open another door to, Egypt isn't the only place where pyramids are found or still there. So we got them in Mexico, supposedly Antarctica. They're all over the world. Maybe they were able to move over great distances. Yeah, I mean.
I guess we understood the concept behind the ones in South America were for ritual purposes. They didn't really have these hidden tunnels, like the ones in Egypt that had like these tunnels that that just are mysteries. They aren't really necessarily tombs.
Right.
They were thinking that maybe water, they were for water pressure or something like that. I don't know. The ones in South America I think had a pretty simple purpose: stack the rocks and for the gods. These ones are a bit different.
I think, Jack and Steve, you have to entertain the ideal of how does an iceberg work? What are they actually trying to do? What are they trying to do with CERN? Are they trying to generate sound? Hence why gold probably is needed as a conduit. Again, we're playing with the hows, let alone the whys. But again, there's so many other things around us on the earth that makes us question and maybe tie into all of this. How were they chiseling a mountain? Maybe, but then again, that poses the question: how did that come to be? Were they trees back then? But I get it. We're trying to stick to the pyramid ideal and thinking that it was made there, and then we can start playing with the ideal. All these humans, like ants, brought all the material there. There's a good chance our technology is so dumbed down compared to that technology. But it doesn't necessarily mean species of old were that high tech unless they were never from here. That opens up another can of worms.
Well, okay, Steve. Talk about tools. I've heard a concept because in construction we work with people who are felons, and felons are pretty creative people. And in prison, apparently, you can use a piece of dental floss to cut through a 5-gallon plastic bucket, bro, and make stuff. Right? I wouldn't expect that would ever happen. That a piece of dental floss can cut through that piece of plastic, but apparently you can do it. So maybe they had some kind of rope that had something intertwined with it that was abrasive that they were rubbing, and that's if you can get the rope lined up perfectly, it's just gonna cut. I don't know how they did the drills though. The drill holes are very fascinating. Have you ever seen that or watched videos of the holes in the stones where they're just like cord? So.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Like where the hell is this perfect circle coming from? And why is it here actually? I see, circles in that, like on a welding table I had, it was all just circles where you could put pegs in there and use it for leverage, or clamping things down, stuff like that. Using the rope theory, definitely, I'm sure they could be smart enough to where, they can take shavings of even its own self, shavings of granite and some way, adhere it to this type of rope, and just, you got people just pulling and eventually it'll cut through. But just seeing how many tons each one can be, that's a lot. It seems like a lot of work,
So this is where the movement and moving the tons I have an idea about in concept. You ever heard of the equal mass theory? Moving something with weight, like equal weight or heavier. Like for example, I have two phones. I actually thought about this before coming on the screen. So I have this phone right here, right? And this phone, they're about equal mass, right? If I had wrapped a huge rope around this one and left 600 feet of rope over here, right? And then attached that 600 feet of rope to this corner, when I rolled this rock, it's going to pick up this rock. And they're going to roll together, right? So the way the pyramids are built, the heaviest rock is at the bottom, the lightest rock is on top. So they use the heaviest rock first to start start dragging the rocks in that direction with
Yeah.
something heavier, and then but it seems like they only could get so far, and that's why there's three of them all right next to each other. Like one guy's like, "Oh, I can get farther than you." The other king's like, "Nah, bruh, I'm gonna get farther than you." And they all like, "Damn it, we all started with the same size block." We all ended up in the same spot. Dang it.
No, that does make sense. It's just like a counterweight, I guess you could say, in a sense, just heavier. To use that to pull, but I always just go to the thing. Are we that stupid? You know what I mean? And that this day and age, to see, the abilities, that our ancestors, I guess we'll just call them, our, fellow humans, from the beginning of time, I guess, being able to figure this shit out. Like, I wonder how far do they really get? Like Dom was saying, we're flying these millions of tons of, structures all over the place. How the hell do they do that? It's hard enough for us to try to shoot a rocket up through the firmament into outer space. You know what I mean? Let alone, move a huge mass like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just hard to fathom.
I have another concept of the why we started with huge mass, because we thought we needed stability, and the more we used the heavier rocks, and we realized, like, hey, we don't need these big rocks for stability to start our structures, and the rocks became smaller, and the building materials became smaller, because we were like, we don't need these big stones are going to last forever for the homes. They're only they need to last 100 years, maybe less. You know what I mean? So the building products just became lighter and more efficient. We started with the building blocks, and now we're using foam.
Well, I mean, we know they use some kind of tools because there's, here hieroglyphics. There's all kinds of writings into the limestone, the rock, the whatever materials they were using. So somebody was doing it by hand. You know what I mean? It wasn't like today's age where we have CNC machine computers that are precisely, copying or transferring thoughts to actual production. You don't see that. None of the markings are always the same. They're different. You know what I mean? So they had to been done. You'd think they would have been done by hand, just like everything else been done by hand. Yeah, I like that idea though. It can explain some things, but it's still a huge mystery, which amazes me that a lot of things that we do today, wanting to know our history, that I know they're doing archaeological digs and this and that, but how we haven't figured out or even had at least a good idea of how or even why they were built. Everyone's comparing them to the stars and how they line up with the constellations out there, and how way they're positioned on the the equator and on how all that works. But what's this guy doing here?
Are often short, incomplete, or altogether manufactured composite digital graphics of a fabricated hypothesis.
Lehner and almost all Egyptologists believe that some kind of ramp was used to raise the stone blocks.
Unto this day, no one has authentically replicated any Egyptian monument or statue using these assumed methods.
Yeah, so using a ramp
Comes to shopping for cookies.
seems like it's a feasible idea, but where's the evidence of a ramp,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, the ramp idea. It's a simple way. Like, I don't know, it's too complicated. Because the rigidity of the soil compaction, so that make sure it didn't slide out during the weight of it's I don't know, it doesn't seem plausible. And then how would you move the ramp? How would you move the ramp away? just it's like all that extra
Yeah, I mean,
material. Yeah, it's just like, what do you do with all the extras?
it's just something, I don't think about all day, but when you get high and you're like, oh man, look at these pyramids. I wonder how they built these damn things. Where do they get the materials and how do they move it? Like, you see what happens if you go to someone's house and they're laying brick wall. They got trucks, they got tools, they got wheelbarrows, they got trowels. It just goes on and on and on. The amount of equipment that you need, today's day and age to really get stuff done. And you don't see any kind of, these archaeological finds. You don't see a lot of like rock cutting tools. Maybe they've disintegrated. Maybe they're, just a consumable, that maybe they went through so many of them because, they broke them. If it's ropes, we know rope's not going to last very long, especially thousands of years. But, oh, there's an interesting one.
So
Maybe they poured the limestone. They made like molds and poured molds. I mean that's definitely not a horrible idea at all. Whatever. Actually, I kind of like that.
I've heard
Just
that
like
concept.
just like we lay concrete, stuff like that. You're making a mold of something, pour it. You have all the powder. You can move the powder easier. In bags or satchels or using horses or donkeys, and then. I would assume that actually that's a pretty good idea. That's a good one there, Hopkins. I like that one.
Have you heard the stone the stone quarry they got it from? They actually have blocks that are cut out, just not moved, and blocks that are cracked. So like, why would you cut out a block to repour it?
Right.
That's where I'm kind of confused in the pour. So maybe it's a mix of both. Some blocks are poured, some blocks are carved.
Well, typically, like let's say you're gonna lay a foundation, you're gonna you want a sturdy base, right? So, like you were saying, if they're moving these heavy ass boulders first, laying the structure first, and then as they're going up, I can't really tell. Does the you can see them though; they're really nice looking, like they're perfectly sheened, and even though there's not much evidence, I guess that I've seen of blocks being poured, I don't think I've seen enough evidence to say that would be close to the top of the list, other than the cantilever type systems, using leverage to move things and whatnot.
So I have two ideas I want to explore with you. Do you think all the pyramids are connected? Like the civilizations at the time were actually talking to each other, and they all built pyramids because there was a reason. They were connected. They all had the same idea, and because there are pyramids everywhere.
Yep. Yep.
And then I thought maybe they were just weights, the counterweights. They noticed maybe the Earth was tilting off an axis, studying the stars, so they wanted to rotate the Earth. So maybe they're just counterweights, like fishing weights, to help balance the Earth's rotation.
Well, I mean, you can see the Sphinx, right? It's this big, huge, what is it, like a dog almost? Or,
right.
You know what I mean? You got this big statue, and then we can look at Mount Rushmore, and we can see that humans are definitely talented enough and can be an artist in a sense where they can, chisel away at something and make it look like, work of art, of course. But so we know that they can cut these things up. They had tools, but again, where are the damn tools? You know what I mean? That's what always seems kind of fishy with me. Is to me it boils down to where are the tools? Where are the the handheld things that they use to make what we see today? That'll probably they'll always be there unless some terrorists decide to freaking blow them up. You know what I mean? Like I don't see them. How could you?
I'd like to explore that tool idea. For example, we have electric drills and electric, all kinds of electric tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember people like seeing stuff at garage sales that people had these like corkscrew drills.
Yep.
And like these like Yankee Doodle like screwdrivers, and those are disappearing. But they did exist at one point in time, but they're disappearing. They will never
That-
be found in maybe 40 years. They will, like, it's going to be the hardest tool to find. So maybe it's a situation like that the tool did exist, but it just got phased out.
Yeah. So probably about 6 months ago, my wife's grandfather had passed away, and he was a very good craftsman. You know, he would make little chess pieces out of a lathe, and he had some tools when we had a garage sale to get rid of a lot of his stuff. Like I was in charge of all the tools because I knew what they were, knew what they were worth. You know, we weren't just going to give them away. But anyway, it was really interesting. Some of the tools that he, you know, had, like you said, it was the corkscrew, you know, drills, you know, a lot of rasps, a lot of files, and just some weird ass tools that I didn't even know what the hell they were. I'm like, what is this thing for? I couldn't even, no idea what it was. So whatever we didn't sell, we just sold to the scrapyard. But no, I can agree with that. As better tools are made, the other ones are basically destroyed or melted down or, you know, reused in a sense. But yeah, so here's some tools. It's hard to get over that feat of, you know, how did they get them stacked on top of each other. Makes no sense to me.
Has anybody, is any of the guests in the chat had a chance to actually visit the pyramids? I haven't had a chance to do it. Steve, Dominic, have you guys had a chance? That's what definitely on a bucket list. Like, look at that picture right there, dude. Of the three little pyramids and the three big ones. Like, whoa, that's heavy.
I mean, the closest I've got to them is watching people's videos of it. You know what I mean? So, I really don't have a want to travel there to see them. I've been all over the world and I've seen a lot of things, but I wouldn't say that would be on my bucket list. Maybe if I was more into this conspiracy theory, you know, for as long as they've been there, they've been, you know, grave robbers and just, you know, things stolen, and I'm interested in it, but not that much to where I want to spend that kind of money. I guess you could say to go over there, but
Now, do you believe that there was like some kind of like mysterious capstone that was like, I don't know, what I see was like a diamond capstone from the movies. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you think there was something that was special on top?
well, some of them have points, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you saw earlier, but I mean, on a freaking dollar bill, you know, we have a freaking pyramid on it. You know what I mean? I've always noticed it, but you never really think about it. And you can't really see, but
What do you think the relation is with that in the
exactly.
United States? Like, anybody in the or the guests in the chat, what do you think the relation between the dollar bill and the pyramid? Like, what is the United States? I don't get that.
It's that third eye deal.
The laws of three.
Well, that, and you look at the way that you know, the streets in DC are made out, and the way how they meet, you know, how they sector each other, and I guess that's a whole nother conspiracy theory, or maybe not conspiracy, but another rabbit hole to go through and try to figure out what makes sense to you. But I don't know. I kind of think that it's just something not from this world built them, and maybe what's left behind of that. At least that's my theory. Not only because I can't fathom it, and you know, I say, oh well, God did it. I mean, we know God didn't build the pyramids, but using that kind of thought process is, you know, it's just hard to believe humans were able to overcome the huge feat that it would take at least our most smartest people in the planet now to be able to build those. And why would you want to build those? What was the reasoning? I guess is another. You know, we don't just kind of build shit just to build it. There's always a reason for it. There's whether it's a monetary gain or a religious belief or whatever. Like what do these things represent? What were they? Why are they?
I think sometimes, Steve, a lot of things are beyond reason and senses, and it is beyond the human capacity for that stuff. The thing you're asking, Jack, earlier, the symbols that are on the dollar bill has nothing to do with America, let alone the citizens. It's another realm on that one. So whoever the fallen ones are, whatever you want to call them, because if you look at the human species, they're like animals, which they are. They would still be in harmony with nature. They don't have the capacity to comprehend steel, plastic, and all the different alchemy of language. We're in a vessel, but we're not that vessel. But again, a person would have to go beyond their reasons or senses to comprehend. So what are those pyramids, for example? What do they serve a person? Somebody had mentioned something about it, which if people want to tap into it, they can also affect the environment, air. What is the weight of air? What is the weight of water? And can you manipulate those things? See, people are looking for material things to be made with material things. Who gave us the idea of storing batteries in a Milwaukee or a Hilti? It's one of those things you have to go inwards and say to yourself, okay, so what can I delete? What could I question first? Well, question your senses, question your thinking, throw them out the door because those are all programs, and then say, okay, now am I ready? Yeah, you're a little bit ready, but how would it serve? I get we can theorize about this, use our imagination and say another species came in here and did all of this, then it opens up. Then why are certain things that are designed on Earth different than nature? One's more angle, and the other one's more circle. Look at nature, it's very curved. You look at the stuff that humans are able to get the information, it's all angles.
Well, as humans, we always try to find an explanation for something, or at least try to anyway. And of course, every individual has their own, beliefs and what makes sense to them and what sounds silly to them. But I think it's probably always just going to be a mystery. I mean, it's very mysterious. Everyone kind of has their own thoughts or whatever, but it's sad that we don't talk about it that much anymore. You know what I mean? I guess we don't really talk about a lot of things we should be talking about. Not that it, focuses on what we, have challenges in front of us today, but it's definitely interesting to see these feats of mankind. If it was, I mean, if I look over here at the poll, I did a poll about an hour ago, 38 votes. I'm going to end the poll there. We had 38 votes, 52% thought regular ass humans built the pyramids, 31% was superhumans, and only 15% was aliens. So that's kind of interesting. I think, at least in the community that we're in here now, I would have thought maybe it would have been more not as lopsided. I don't think I would have picked regular ass humans, maybe superhumans. I don't know about aliens. Not that I don't believe. We haven't seen evidence of aliens yet, actual proof. But yeah, so definitely interesting. Not a lot of people are really. They think that we could do it. So.
Well, if there was a giant race, where'd they go? Why were their bones? They shouldn't have disappeared that long ago, right? I mean, pyramids were in history books, so there was where'd they go? I would think we would have some of their piece and parts, and then those sarcophagus. No, is that what those things called? The gold wrapped mummies. They're not giants. The pharaohs, they're not giants. So I don't know if the giants built the pyramids.
Yeah, and like I said, there are ideas. If I would have, did a little more research, I could see where the frequency probably would have been. Using sound vibrations would have been more, probably a better selection to choose from because that makes more sense to me in any way. They're saying that back in the day, because of the big, the redwood forests, and how huge these trees are, which I've never seen them, but they look fucking humongous. Back in the day, our planet had a ridiculous amount of oxygen. Things grew to be huge, dinosaur sized, like just huge mammoth type beings. And we'd be silly to think that humans couldn't have been, part of that. I mean, it could be. It just depends on your perspective of, where humans came from. But I don't know. I think I've seen some pictures of some big ass people, like human skulls that were like, huge. So it's just another conspiracy. Is it true? Is it not? Where's the proof? I don't know. But
also, if you have to account for some of the buildings, why they have tall doors, why do they build buildings with gargoyles on them back in the day? So unless we're just thinking that a person has a wild imagination, those things could have existed. We're a destructive race the way we are in these forms. Can you imagine if we were in a bigger form? We might have been more destructive. So there might be an outside source that controls all of that, or just manipulates it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like most people know how to use the written work, but do people really question who gave us the written work?
Can we explore the idea that maybe it's just part of the matrix to help it, like it's just an idea to help it, just to disguise and veil over us to help us think about something that's just keep us away from the system?
Maybe for some. We always assume that they're trying to mislead us or misdirect us in a certain way to not see what's going on. But the pyramids have already kind of been there, so I don't kind of see that one, as a huge factor in that. But I get where you're going with that.
Well, most of us aren't even participating in all the invention of all this technology. In 100 years, if we all came back, we'd say, who created the car? A handful. Who made them? Well, most of us. But the rest of us would say, I don't know how Wi-Fi came to be, how radio frequency came to be. Oh, so it's the few basically entertaining the masses. Yeah. And the masses just bitch and complain about not getting their little piece of the pie. But are we contributing all that? There's a good chance back in the days, there was probably a handful of people that understood alchemy, whether black or white, and they were able to do things like move, let's say, rock, stones, manipulate steel. People can use their voice and break a glass, as Steve has to play a man-made instrument such as bass or whatever to break glass. Stuff. There's people that can do a lot of that stuff. But it could be like, Jack is trying to pose that, there's a matrix and somebody's trying to, deny us of something.
Just raises a lot of questions, you know what I mean?
You're way too stoned to think that a person.
There you go, Steve. There you go, Steve. Jack.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, how'd you guys your holiday? Did you guys have a decent holiday?
Yeah. Said hi to family. Some family got in trouble, and then was able to hang out with Jack Talcott and appreciate his stream and his shenanigans, and then I was able to eat turkey dinner and a T-bone steak for like Thanksgiving. So I'm good. Thanks for asking, man. How was yours?
Yeah, well, it was different. We went to sister-in-law's house. She bought a new house, so she wanted to have the festivities there. So I didn't do anything except show up, which is the first time in probably 13 years that I wasn't doing the turkeys and feeding everybody. So it was a nice little break. Yeah, let's just say that was a nice little break. It was a good turnout. It was funny. She's about an hour and a half from where we live, so definitely was. Tell my wife, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna get there and we're gonna start talking about some flat Earth stuff." And she's like, "You better not. You better not." And so I tried a little bit, but nobody was. I was trying to be subtle about it, Do you think we went to the moon?
No one
was
ready
on
to
it.
participate. Really?
No.
I'm a flat
Nope.
glober, like a basketball that got deflated. So it was round, but there's like once you deflate it, there's all these little crevices you can fill in full of water. It's a flat glober.
Yeah. Well, you talk flat Earth, and that just makes people think that they're, guessing or second guessing the globe idea. And that's all it kind of was. But no, Heidi, I didn't bring any leftovers home. It wasn't worth it. I'm very critical when it comes to turkey. I have a whole process of cooking turkey, and many turkeys actually. But no, I'm going to still cook turkeys. I can't go a whole year without having my turkey. So I'll probably do it next weekend. I fry them, brine them. They're so good, so juicy. It's the best. It is the best, but
I've enjoyed a smoked turkey that was really unbelievable once. So if you have a chance, try getting into smoked turkeys. They're pretty incredible.
Yeah, we had a smoked turkey last year as well. Problem is just if you're not brining your turkey, you're just doing it wrong. You know, you have to brine your turkey just to add the flavor it adds. You know, and his turkey was kind of dry. I mean, the smoked flavor tasted good, but you know, when you got to put gravy on your turkey to eat it, it's pretty bad.
Ooh, yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I gotta say though, her sister, she did a good job. She cooked it in the oven, and it was much better than I thought it was, because I haven't had an oven fried turkey in about 14, 15 years. So 14, 15 years. But what about you, Dom? You celebrate Thanksgiving?
In Canada here, I think it was earlier in the month. I think. Yeah, I think I did celebrate with my parents.
Yeah, right on. Are you in Canada? Is that where you are now?
Yep.
I was curious. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving up there, right? They have nothing to. I mean, nothing equivalent. I mean, that's traditionally an American holiday, right?
No, there's a Thanksgiving in Canada. I think it's on the 14th, Steve. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, I'm just a dumb American. I don't know much.
I don't think you're dumb. It's just a lot of people, even in Canada, don't know what's going on from one coast to another. You know, a lot of people don't want to be worldly and understanding different plights of different humans in different parts of the world. But I get it.
Yeah. The Hopkins got some good information. The first people to have a year consisting of 365 days divided into 12 months. It helped them predict the annual flooding of the Nile, and they also invented clocks. Yeah, so I mean, I'm on board with using water for transportation. It's just getting over that hump of how the hell did they be able to build them, you know, at such a great height. I guess if they could narrow it down and say it took them, you know, this many thousands of years. I mean, we have to assume it took thousands of years, you know, of just a relentless like slave community. I don't know. I would assume it would be a slave community. That seems like a lot of hard work.
Yeah, and you'd only be able to work during the day, right? Like we can work at night. We have lights. They didn't really have that kind of thing, unless you believe. I've seen there's stuff on the walls suggesting that there was a light system. What do you think about that? Did they have some kind of ability to work at night?
I mean, when you get when you retain your night vision, you know, and you're out at night, your eyes will adjust and you can see. It's not like they're, "Oh, what are we doing?" You know what I mean? Like you're gonna see at night. You know, like in the military, you know, they teach you, you know, to keep one eye closed, you know, for lights coming on, because it'll ruin your night vision. It'll take you, you know, minutes, if not longer, to get your night vision back. You know, if you're out working all night long, I mean, with those tan colored big huge boulders, they're probably easy to see. I don't know if that would hinder it too much. I could see where it possibly could, but that seems like that would be a 24-hour day job.
That's what I mean. I wonder if like they were even on a building schedule like that, where they're like, "Dude, we gotta build this thing as fast as possible." So they're just cycling it. They were just, you know, like day and night cycle, just like something you see in a movie, just dust and people just down slaves and whips and just nonstop, dude.
Or maybe they did it willingly. You know what I mean? Like they did it. You know, we're thinking about Jack Talcott. You know, having this society of you know, people just showing up to work and everyone gets the same cut kind of thing. You know, I don't know. You know, that could have been back. You know, a lifestyle back then where maybe they had something worked out pretty well. Where it's like you show up, you put in a little bit of time, and you get a free home and you get free food or whatever. You know, who knows? I mean, you would think that if that was the case, you know, maybe
I can
that's.
see Steve helping build the pyramids for Jack.
Yeah, I mean, I would I mean, honestly, why do we go to work anyway? We go to work to provide for ourselves. So if you can go and provide your time in exchange for having anything you want or need, I mean, what's the use? You know, I know they had a lot of gold and they valued gold back then. I mean, at least you see that in the relics that they find, and you know, rings and you know, jewelry, and you know, it seems like you know, precious metals were and gems, you know, were uh, sought after in a way, or there's some kind of high status. I don't know if they would use that for trade currency. Maybe it was just trading your labor for currency. You know what I mean? You get a few chit rocks for putting in X amount of time, and you cash them in, and you know, grab a chicken or something. I don't know. you know. Then again, you know, there could have been, you know, the way it is here. I live in Florida. I mean, I can go right to the ocean, to the beach, anywhere, just about anywhere in the state, and catch fish and feed myself for free. You know, I have a cast net. I throw out and catch bait, and you know, I will always come home with fish. You know, it may not be, you know, um, fish you may want to eat. You know, grouper or you know, some mangrove snapper or something like that. But you know, it is what it is, I guess. But I don't know. There's a lot of aspects to these pyramids, you know, when you start breaking it down. I mean, we can talk about, you know, where the materials came from. How did they get the materials there? What tools do they use to transport these materials and to, you know, finally shape these materials? And then, you know, how do they stack them? And it's just, it's a huge feat. I don't know if people really realize just how in depth the amount of work that has gone into building those damn things, you know. So
I wish I knew more about the hieroglyphics. Was that what it is? Or
Yeah.
the writings on the walls, and so far what they have explored and be able to decipher. Because if I was building that, I would leave a, you know, a story.
Yep.
So, because it is like it's not one of a kind because there's 3 or 4 of them. You know, there's a whole bunch of them, but it's something special.
No, for sure. It's like that's why I brought it up, because like I think there's an importance to them. There's some kind of meaning to them, you know. And I got the correlation, or the you know, putting them together where they can correspond with what's going on in the universe. You know, and kind of like how Dom was saying, you know, maybe they were floating them through, you know, magnetism, you know, could have something to do with it. You know, it's just you look at them, it's like, well, what do they represent? You know, what are they? You know, did they do something? You know what I mean? What were they used for? Why are they there? And it's just kind of hard to explain. No, I don't even. That one video, I think it said that they don't even really know what the purpose of the pyramids were, other than just maybe that, you know, they didn't know how to build straight structures the way that we build them today. You know, straight up in the sky. You know, could have been really windy there. You know, those are definitely standing the test of time. You know, and then I saw another one. It was about them. Just the tips.
All right.
And called Kemet, the people that existed before the Egyptians.
That's
when
pretty
we
crazy.
hear these stories about the Great Pyramid being a tomb for the pharaoh, it's worth mentioning that even the locals didn't believe that. The saying that the pyramids were built to be tombs for the pharaohs wasn't even developed until 150 years ago. That's it. They were taught Kemet. And it's worth mentioning that when you go through inside these pyramids of Giza, there's not one single glyph in any of them whatsoever. There was never a mummy found in any Egyptian pyramid ever. Quite literally, the only reason why we are told this stuff is because that was the theory developed by these men that went in there and said, I believe these must have been for the pharaohs. That makes sense.
So it's all just one group of people had one theory, and that theory just stuck around.
100%. The people in Egypt.
Yeah, so that picture right there is pretty funny. I mean, as we keep digging down, we're revealing shit. You know, they were just showing the videos of, you know, underworld cities, you know, marble floors and just statues like under the ocean. So, who knows, man? These could have been islands. It's just, it just sucks not being able to know. I like to know shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to be like, I don't know, nobody knows. It's whatever you want it to be. Yeah, it's
Most even the biblical story, they talk about after the flood that people were getting together and they were building these high things, which could have been the pyramid. Let's speculate on there. But then their language was scattered. So there's a good chance people of old were able to use all the different types of language like math, color, numbers together, science, philosophy, all that, because those are all variations of languages. But if you scattered them all, because I've always pondered that you shouldn't just apply science to it. You should apply science, biology, philosophy, numbers, and colors to all those things. How would that look like if we could speak all the different languages and mesh them together? Again, I get it. The masses aren't going to understand, let alone even myself. I can look at it and say, okay, so what was the CN Tower's purpose? What was all these different towers' purpose? Who gave us the technology that be able to build a building that we technically could build a building 300 stories high, but unfortunately the elevators would have to be so big to accommodate 300,000 people that can use that building. So that's why they don't build it, but they have that ability. So that the pyramid, once looked in that eyes, it's not really that advanced, but we're still looking from it from the common folk kind of view. I'm a tradesperson, so I need to see the tools, but who's giving you the tools? Who's giving you the material that you can use those tools?
Yeah, and who's designing the tools? Who's inventing the tools?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of aspects of, the work. I mean, I think a lot of people think, oh, boom, they just started building pyramids. No, they were building shit before. I don't see the evidence of that anywhere. Maybe I haven't looked for it, but all we see is like this end result of this great, era where they're able to just make these things. They're you don't build a freaking a mansion, you know what I mean? You start with a shack and then a little bit better shack, and then you hit the pinnacle, of a career or a skill set that either is getting passed on. I've always seen people just getting better. I always work with people that are better than me, and until I better them, and then I'm on to the next group of people that are better, so I can better myself. You'll never see me in the gym working out with the little guys. I mean, every now and then I'll help them out, but I'm gonna always be working out with guys who are bigger than me. You know what I mean? Those are the ones who push you the most. Those are the ones you learn from the most from. But and I can see that same way in here. It's like maybe that's why maybe do they start with these little ones first and be like, oh yeah, we can, do it bigger. We can do it better. We can do it faster. And just like anything else, you definitely get faster once you get the experience down, and then everyone gets faster because you're sharing that experience. I'm assuming they had project managers. Somebody was telling somebody what to do, because most general laborers, they're just general labor. They're just doing what they're told. You got to have the architects. You got to have the leaders. Yeah, it's a whole huge process, man. It's definitely intriguing. I enjoy it. Because a lot of things you figure out, right? And then, but this, I don't think we ever will. To be honest with you.
Well, I'm still really confused because most things that humans build have design behind them. We build a home for the live in. We build a government building to talk about stuff in Congress. We talk what you can't live in the pyramids. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there was a reason behind them. Was it to flag other aliens, from a different species that lived here way before us, did they have some type of magical, kind of power in a sense that, they did something, some type of resonator or, I don't know, but, I mean, your mind can go crazy. There literally is you can't pinpoint it. Like I said, that's kind of why I started the idea or did the topic for the stream was because there should be like a whole shit ton of just theory, and no one's wrong. You know what I mean? You can't be wrong because there's really no proof of it. We can have a guesstimate or an idea, but no, Jen. They said that there was no. They weren't used for burial means at all. That's just something recent, apparently. And again, this is the internet educating me. So,
I guess, Steve, it's like when people go to an art gallery and they're looking at some artist's renditions of an artwork. And meanwhile, the artist is sitting to the side and everybody's giving thousands of different possibilities. But meanwhile, after the artist tells them what he was or she was actually trying to depict you with that artwork, most people aren't going to really say, well, no, that can't be it. So it's like you could look at the pyramids, like you could look at, what do they call it? The stuff on the ground, whatever, crop circles.
yeah.
You know, what are they serving for who? You know what I mean? Like, and if there is humans that are aware of it, I'm pretty sure they're not going to reveal it to the masses that aren't interested on knowing, let alone having discernment.
I mean,
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's just so funny you brought up, the crop circles because I mean I mentioned it too earlier, but I was so upset when I found out that it was a hoax and they're people faking them. I really thought like, man, these spaceships are just landing down in these cornfields and checking out Earth. When are they going to come say hi? And ended up being all a fucking joke. But
It could be, or that could be the story.
I mean that too. I mean I can believe that. Because I watched the whole documentary on how they did them and the people that were making them and they really put a lot of thought into doing it. Whether it's to cover up real ones, you know what I mean? I can see that, but I was let down, big time.
They could be stamping certain landmass. They're no different when the military uses terms like identifying flying objects, UFOs. To their awareness is identifying flying object. There's a good chance there could be other spaceships. Of course, it's funny when people say, but I seen an alien. Oh, so you have a high-tech camera, you can actually see who's behind the cockpit. Have you ever seen anything behind a drone? Again, why are we only allowed to fly a certain altitude with our planes? These are things to at least stir people up to possibilities. Outside of that, most people get caught up in right or wrong, opposed to right or left. Pick a direction, go with it for a while.
To explore the flat Earth idea, right? If the flat Earth idea is that actually Earth is the center of the universe and everything is projected up like that, right?
Yeah, I mean it's how you interpret it, really.
I would think it'd be easy for aliens to find us because we would be the center to fall into.
Earth is
that concept.
Jack. Earth is means dry land. There's 7 continents. If we were living in the ocean, we would call it the ocean because there's more body mass in the ocean than the Earth. This is the game that people play. Now, could the clouds be portals? Maybe. Could the pyramid be the Bermuda Triangle be a portal? Maybe. Again, it's one of those things we bastardize meanings. So when people talk about the Earth, keep in mind it just means dry land, absence of water.
Correct. But I'm just exploring the idea of, other people's ideas.
About other aliens coming here to this, like they give us the story that we're the center of the universe.
Right, because I understood that flat Earth kind of like it was the bottom and everything was projected up like a cup. It would be the bottom of the cup, and I would think that the aliens would be floating at the top of the cup like flies, and that then eventually the fly would fall down at the bottom of the cup. So they would just all be falling down to us. That's all. Just exploring that idea.
Could be other landmass too, and hence why they use the term "nothing new under the sun" because there could be things beyond the sun. And then you could explore the ideal. Could there be a place called Atlanta? Yes. Could there be a place called Odin? Yes. Could there be different bodies of waters surrounding the oceans? Probably. Now you have to entertain that ideal. Then that would explain why they're trying to tell you. You see those 2 flash ups in the skies? That's not where we're in. But again, they're flashlights. I call them flashlights because the light itself is brighter than the sun. Again, we're playing with our senses at this point.
I also have an idea that the pyramids are just someone's failed experiment. Like someone had a great idea, they tried it 3 times, and it didn't work. So and that's why it's just forgotten into the sand. We were like, dude, we're not doing that anymore. We're not moving these 300-ton blocks for you because you want to try something. We tried it 3 times. Hell, we tried it 6 times. There's even little mini ones, and it didn't work. So we abandoned it. And that's why the people around there are like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why are you making this? Like, we abandoned it too. We live around this thing. We didn't care about it until you asked. I heard that's how the pyramids were found. That these guys were exploring that had no idea that they were there. and look over like, what are those? And the natives were like, oh, those have been there the whole time. They weren't even looking for them. It was just happenstance. So even the natives abandoned the pyramids.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of argument to bring towards what religion could or did or didn't influence them, but but just by looking at them and looking at that time, if we think about it, uh, I would assume religion was much more prominent. The belief in mysterious, the belief in voodoo or just things you couldn't explain. Religion always answers that question of things that can't be explained. But maybe they were built for something to do with the gods, an offering of somehow, or just hey, look at us. This maybe they saw something in the sky. Who knows what? Could have been aliens just zooming along saying, yeah, these motherfuckers ain't. They're not ready for alien contact yet, or who knows, or, maybe that's why they were built to maybe be like a beacon somehow or something. I just don't understand the purpose, unless you're trying to maybe keep track of time using it like a sundial or something. Just the actual use of it just seems all of that work had to be for something.
I'm a dummy. I would try digging under the corner to see what's underneath it, and then all of a sudden he's like dunk and just fall over. I'm like, oh gosh, I broke
Yeah, right.
I broke
Yeah.
you guys.
No, you can get in big trouble. I think you mess around with them too much.
Yes.
What's
Dude.
going on there, Special K?
There's a couple who got arrested for having doing the dirty on top of the pyramid, bro.
Oh yeah, good for them.
That was on their list.
Good for them.
Yeah, right. Some people just have goals.
I mean, my wife's game. She's crazy. She if I said let's do it, she'd have no problem with it. But no, she probably would. She wouldn't want to get arrested. But God forbid she,
In Egypt, yeah, I don't know if I want to get arrested in Egypt too.
Well, that and being around me when I'm around cops because I'm a fucking asshole. Cops and I do not get along. I don't respect them at all. But yeah, no, I can see that. That's she's asleep right now, actually, or else I would ask her, and she'd probably like, okay, let's do it. As long as we're not gonna get arrested.
Do you think the aliens are around us, among us, or do you think they're still waiting to show up, or do they exist? What's your opinion on the aliens? Because I'm interested. I have an opinion about them.
I think you have to be. I'm not going to say naive, but if you don't have enough imagination to at least once contemplate globe, non-globe, crater Earth, flat Earth stuff, if you believe that okay, there's a possibility of space travel and universal type things, that it's almost impossible to think we're the only intelligent beings to ever exist. That maybe we're at the later stage of some type of time period compared to however many years ago there might have been a civilization that was able to easily have some kind of energy source to travel space. If there is even space to travel, we don't even really know. But yeah, I think you have to be kind of naive to think that there aren't aliens, and if they are here, they're going to be so far advanced. I don't think we would be able to even to detect them.
Really, because I thought that there was a huge advance in weaponry. I guess the Germans were able to all of a sudden they were flying jets. They surprised the American with the first jet, and no one was thinking about that. Everybody was driving around with prop planes, and all of a sudden, I guess an American plane going around. What is that thing? And this jet just came streaming through. So somehow they went from prop plane to jets. They went from there was this huge advancement in technology that's unexplainable.
Yeah, that was World War II, I think it was, that just kind of kicked off the an age where you had two major powers of the world, like street yard fighting. You know what I mean? And they were just trying to be better than the other. And it kind of turned in where we are today with a lot of technologies because of war and because of people fighting, you know what I mean, trying to dominate one another. But I can definitely see that, you know, all the alien footage that I've seen, you know, that's come out recently in the congressional hearings and the footage, and you know, if these things that we're physically seeing, we're just going to believe that, okay, this is some type of extraterrestrial alien, and you know, not from this world. True, the way that they move and as fast as they're moving, there's got to be a huge jump in technology for anyone to survive some of the maneuvers, you know, that these things have been video documented doing. So it's just kind of hard to. You know, I'm never going to say no. You know, I'm a huge fucking Star Trek fan. You know what I mean? Like I want to believe that there's some type of space travel. There's some type of something out there. You know, I got to bring in my starship. But you know what I mean? Like I just assume that it's so vast. If it is vast, that there has to be aliens. If
Can we
they're
explore that idea real quick? If there was an opportunity for Steve to leave Earth and jump on the Enterprise for the rest of his life, like you ain't coming back to Earth, dude, would you leave Earth and be a space explorer? That's a
yeah,
tough decision, dude.
I think I would. I mean,
Really?
if and for what my perception is that if I'd have to leave everything behind, probably not.
You'd be living in artificial gravity, artificial air, the food.
No,
You
I'm
probably
saying like
eat.
family. You know, like you know,
Well, you can take them with.
You know, if my family would come with me, then yeah, I mean, I would have no problem, not whatsoever. I don't think I would. I would calculate the risks, the benefits, just like I would today's day and age. Yeah, 100%.
Well, just how like projected in the
100%.
movies, like it's pretty safe. They got it all figured out. Like
Mhm.
they're not worried about like they're not worried. They're just flying. They're just it's like a summer. I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. I think I would stay, man. I'm an earther, bro.
I don't know. There's
I like the
what's
soil.
left. What's left here? What is there left to discover? Nothing.
I haven't. I
mean-
still haven't left my hometown, bro.
Wow. Well, coming from someone who's been all over this, I've been all over this world. I mean, I've experienced a lot. You know, I don't see more. I think that's my problem, is that you don't see any more explorers. You know, you don't see any more expeditions or explorations into something big. You know, it's just that's what it seems to me. Is like we're literally just kind of stuck in this. Well, we're as far as we're gonna get. That's about it. You know, other than Elon Musk, you know, creating these rockets that can shoot up, whether or not they're going through the, you know, into the Earth's upper atmosphere, but they're fucking landing on their own. You know what I mean? They're being reused, so it's cheaper, so we can do it more. I mean, we can explore more that way. But yeah, you know, so yeah, I would definitely want to go somewhere else. I mean, if we were colonizing Mars or whatever, which is supposed to happen, you know, maybe someday. These are all just thoughts. Yeah, sure, get me the fuck off this place. You know, as long as I can bring weed with me, you know, bring my own plants, you know, or have some type of way to replicate it where I just walk up and say, beep, 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 weed, please, thank you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
some way to expand my mind, you know, in a sense of, you know, just using imagination.
That's great, dude. That's great. What's your favorite sci-fi movie? Kind of like, what's your favorite sci-fi movie? Because you said you enjoyed Star Trek. To me, it's Fifth Element. Fifth Element was kind of cool. How they had the future microwave where you just top things in there. Pink, you know, food comes out, cars that fly. We're in space. We're talking to aliens and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed the Fifth Element and that movie. Is there any movies you enjoyed like that?
Actually, Fifth Element was, because it's a really good movie. But I met Bruce Willis in person when I was in Hawaii, and we were training him on weapons and stuff like that for Cheers of the Sun movie that he was doing.
I actually saw that movie.
Yeah, and he was a fucking asshole, man. And so, like, he was an asshole in person. Big, huge. His forehead was like this big, like big as my face, like huge forehead. And he was just full of himself, and he was rude, you know, to my Marines and stuff. And so after that, I was like, you know what, fuck this guy. I'm not watching any more movies. So yeah, I don't watch anymore. I mean, I know he's having medical issues now, and it has nothing to do with him being an asshole. It's just the way nature is, I guess. But no, I stopped watching all of his shit. But sci-fi wise, Star Trek really takes the cake. Like all of the Star Trek movies, I watch them, I enjoy them. I think I enjoy the. I guess I enjoy the storyline of Star Trek. Where mankind, has abolished kind of greed. They've abolished this need to want to be, have greed and possess stuff. It turns into, where you basically make yourself, better yourself. That's the goal, and that's really what they do.
Do they call it the Federation?
Yeah, Federation of Planets
What
is like.
What do you think a federation is? I've never heard that term like in government.
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's just.
No. Could anybody in the chat help us? Like, what's a federation?
I mean, I think it would be a group of people, probably, for an agenda. Without googling it real quick, I can just see that. But
isn't it a democracy?
It's more or less it is a democracy and a republic kind of all in one.
Thank you. Yeah. Because we're yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just the whole storyline to it is they've gotten rid of greed. They actually have gotten rid of religion, and they just shows what human or mankind was able to put all of these things and beliefs that would make us want to go to war with each other. It kind of stopped all that. Kind of like what Jack Talcott is kind of looking for is ending all wars. It's like literally, I mean, religion has caused more war than anything in the history of man, and they've somehow put that to the side and moved forward, more enlightened, I guess you could say, past that to become a one, just a whole union of people, I guess. And so that's just a storyline. I mean, they don't talk about you learn that through watching shit tons of content about it, but I just entertained in that. Like Star Wars, no, I never got into Star Wars. That kind of bores me. The stuff that to me isn't believable. Whereas Star Trek is something that it could be believable. I mean, you could believe that hey, we're kind of living this life in the 23rd century. You know what I mean? So,
well, I like the idea of Star Wars also being a story from the past, and Star Trek is for the future.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, it says
it is the future.
Whereas a Star Wars, it says a long, long, long time ago. Okay, and then what do you think about exploring Star Trek? The character, I think he was Data, the guy with the visor. No, he didn't have the visor. He had the skin that was different color, and he was like the AI robot guy.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a necessary character? If you have, like, for example, a ship that can tell you all the stuff necessary.
Well, you're generalizing, like a certain character in a TV show that someone manifested and had some conception of what they should be, but I think it hits home because as humans, we've always have tried to automate stuff. We've always tried to create something to be done easier, right? Something where we don't have to work as hard. And so the epitome of building a type of android that can look like a human, act like a human, do human things, do it better, that relieves us, like here in Florida, landscaping is a huge business. Most businesses you see, there are a lot of illegals, a lot of people from Mexico that do these businesses because nobody really it's hard work. You know what I mean? So it's almost like that they're being the robots. Someone would rather just pay some. My son, he goes out and mows lawns. He'll make $20-$30 a lawn, and it takes him 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
that's a good hustle.
It is a good hustle. Like he's 17 and he's killing it. But you see what I'm saying? Like people would rather just, instead of going out and buy their own lawnmower and just doing it themselves and cost nothing, they just don't have the time. And that's another thing too, is time. So that kind of brings that whole Android thing. Is, I mean, if I could have an Android here to cook and clean and take care of shit when I want to take a nap or I want to stream all day, you know what I mean? Go make me a sandwich, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You know what I like. It's just that sense of humans think that we can epitomize that at the end of the.
All right. So have you seen the movie Wall-E?
Yeah, I love that movie
And
actually.
how everybody's in their like lawn chair gravity seat, then they all turn to Jello.
Yeah, I
How
love the story of
far-
that movie actually.
How far would you take using your robot and AI, for example? Hey, I don't feel like streaming. Robot, go stream for me. No, you're just in your lawn chair, just driving around and watching your football. Robot, go do this. You're like, dude, I haven't got out of my chair in years.
Well, that was the really the coolest thing about that movie, and what it was showing is just how bad humans let automation get. You know, you
That
literally.
goes along with Special K saying that there's some truth to every Hollywood movie. It's like
Mhm.
Wall-E, man. It's kind of scary.
hmm Actually, I think Wall-E might have been one of the first Blu-ray movies that I ever bought. Because if you ever watch that when you're fucked up, it's a really good show. But no, like that whole the whole storyline of that movie, was Earth was fucked. We were able to build a ship. Everybody can get on it, and we'll come back in 700 years. I think that's what it might have been, 700 years, and it should be growing. And it should be ready to be inhabited again. And then you just get used to being everything automated for you. You don't work anymore. You don't do shit. Yeah, she was copy and pasting off like a crazy woman. Crazy woman copy and pasting their Special K.
But she's doing. Yeah, look at that. I know it's the Alliance Federal. Like I've getting the research. She's yeah, history of Star Trek right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You did great. You did great. Hugs. No, I actually grew up watching Star Trek, and I enjoyed it over Star Wars. I enjoyed Star Trek, dude. What's your opinion on the new movies of Star Trek? The ones that came out with that I forgot the actor's name, but it's like the three. I own all three of them. The Edge of Darkness, I know is one of them. From the other two.
I like how they started from the beginning, in a sense, with Kirk. I think they all did a great one with the new spot. Everybody. Yeah, those movies I watched those over and over as well. They're just entertaining. I think it's more or less the special effects. You know what I mean? Which goes without saying. The amount of money that they spent on special effects is nothing. What NASA gets, currently to, be faking a lot of their footage. And, we don't even have a real fucking picture of the Earth. You know what I mean? So it's nice to just go into a fantasy land and, get lost in movies and TV shows like that. Have you watched the Orville yet?
No, should I? And we are talking about Trek. We are talking about Trek Special K.
Yeah, we are talking about it. But yeah, so Seth MacFarlane, it's on Hulu. I came across it mistakenly. I didn't want to watch it because I thought it, with Seth MacFarlane, like he's going to be making fun of Star Trek. That's what it kind of seemed like it was going to be. At least my first initial,
It was a parody, I thought.
yeah, parody, right? It's nothing like that. It's more of a way too chill Star Trek, like way too chill. You know what I mean? All the Star Treks, not really funny. Some things are, may have some comedic relief, but no, and it's not funny through the whole thing. It's serious. It's got its moments, but no, you should really check it out if you're into Star Trek that as much as I am, which I can't imagine anyone really is, but I guess it's possible. The Orville is definitely a nice breath of fresh air. With a whole new avenue. They don't transport like beam me up, they don't do that. It's all using shuttles and stuff, like if they go ship to ship, things like that. So some things aren't the same as Trek, but some things kind of are. You can walk up and food replicator, get a drink and all that stuff. But yeah, so it's a good show. It's funny. You should definitely, if you have a way to watch it, you should watch. There's a lot of good characters in there too. Actually, like the very first episode, Rob Lowe's in it. Ted Danson's in it. Actually, I think I won't ruin it for you. But yeah, so there's a lot of pretty good actors that have made cameo appearances in it here and there. I think it's in its third season, so. yeah, it's a good show. Orville.
So just going back to the memory banks, dude, enjoying Star Trek. They really did a good job, like emphasizing, like it's trying to make you feel like you were on a Starfleet command ship, dude. It felt cold. It felt quiet. You know, it's like now I think about it, it's like the scenes had exactly what they needed. There weren't extra noises because there's no extra noise in space other than just the spaceship. Like they did a great job in that show, and I watched the one with Jean-Luc Picard, bro. That's what I watched. So I don't know which one you followed because there were some other ones, but I don't know which one you followed.
I when I was a kid, because it was on TV, I watched TOS, the original Star Trek. You know,
Yes.
Kirk, and I watched a lot of it, and I can't say that I really enjoyed it because now when I go back and watch it, I was like, I can't believe I watched this. It's pretty lame. Like, you know, the effects were
No, you
pretty
didn't,
bad,
bro.
and
No, you didn't.
it actually was pretty lame. And I'm like,
Yeah.
as a kid, I was into it. So, but then when, you know, maybe I was in high school. I don't remember the year, but when the Next Generation came out, I was like, I'm not watching it because I like the old Star Trek. Fuck this new one. And then, of course, they stopped showing the other Star Trek. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. And then, of course, I fell in love with it. And then for many years, my mom would, you know, for Christmas, she would get me a box DVD of the one season. So after the 7 seasons, she's like, well, I don't know what to get you now. You know what I mean? And then, of course, now everything's streamed. So I have Paramount Plus, which streams all the Star Trek stuff, actually. And every night when I go to bed, whatever she's watching, I turn on Star Trek and I watch it while I fall asleep. The Next Generation, just constantly on repeat, constantly. And then when I get tired of it, then I'll go and put on the Orville and then I'll start watching those over
So
and
you
over.
haven't explored the other ones, dude? I watched the one with the Hercules, the old Hercules guy, Kevin Sorbo. He did one that was really good. That I think it's like not Deep Space Nine. It was another one, but there's Deep Space Nine. There's the other ships out there, bro. They're all part of the Federation, and they're a really good series.
Well, I've watched them all. I watched Deep Space Nine. I won't say I watched them like I watched the Star Trek one or the Next Generation, but
Right,
I watched them. I watched them all. I watched the one with Sam or not Sam Scott Bakula.
Okay.
You know, it's like the original. Like they go way back with that one, and you know you get past the freaking opening song, which was horrible. But I mean, those are pretty cool. You know, I watched those, but I don't watch them over and over the way that I do the Orville and the Next Generation.
Right.
And mind you, when you know I watch them, I'm watching maybe 20 minutes and then I'm out. Pretty much when my head hits the pillow, it's night time.
Right.
I don't have a problem sleeping. I've never had a problem sleeping. But yeah, that's just my typical entertainment. I don't really watch much anymore.
Right now, man, it's the StreamYards. It's YouTube for me. I look for live streams.
I wasn't on at all yesterday. Like I made a post, you know, to my community post to just kind of tell people what we're thankful for. My one, like when this stream's over, you know, I have 26 likes. So thank you everybody for liking it up. I think we peaked around 30 something viewers tonight, which is average for this channel. But I always have one dislike on like literally every one of my live streams. So there's somebody out there that really doesn't like me. And I appreciate you know, hitting the down button because I hate seeing 100% likes on all my streams. I want to see that 90% or that 92.3%, you know. So first and foremost, fuck you, Mr. Thumb Downer guy or gal. I'm glad that I did something to piss you off and make you not like me. So suck a dick. Keep doing what you're doing. And yeah. So,
well, someone described dislikes as the Australian thumbs up because they're on the bottom side of the planet. They think, you know what I mean. So it looks up to them even though it's down. So I thought that was funny. Yeah, they just get the Australian thumbs up.
See you, Pioneer. Thanks for stopping by, bud. Yeah, I mean we're at the 2-hour mark, man. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a show. Simple Jack, you got any last words on the pyramid or anything in general, really?
No, I just want to say thank you for all the support of the community. Your gifted memberships is appreciated. Thank you for your time and conversation and exploring my ideas and questions. It's always fun hanging out with Steve over here, guys. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. And if you're watching this after the stream is over. Peace.
See ya. Thank you, sir. Dom, you still there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm still here, Steve. Again,
Yeah,
thanks,
I'm
Steve.
good. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, man. I appreciate you coming by. I always enjoy your thoughtful comments and opinions on everything.
No problem, Steve. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Same with you, Steve.
Appreciate that. Well, all right, everybody. That's another Friday night. I like to generally keep it at about a 2 hour because people come back, watch it. I do not anything to do with my panel guests tonight, but the pyramids, I knew it was going to be kind of dry. It's kind of just one of those things where it doesn't fucking mean shit. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean shit. It's just another thing that we can talk about. But I do want to say that I do enjoy hosting a drama-free channel. So, for the ones that like to come here and just like to hear some guys bullshit about whatever, I'll try to come up with some more interesting topics. But I know it was a holiday weekend and much people are all around. But for all of you guys that showed up, much love. I really do appreciate every single one of you and all of my 303 subscribers. I do appreciate every single one of you. So typically I'm going to get about 100% participation in my videos. I'll probably have 300 views on the stream. And I'm just going to kind of keep doing, what I'm doing. And if you've got a problem with it, fuck you. I don't give a shit. With that said, everybody in the chat, thanks for coming out. Thanks for keeping it real. I know I got my mods in there. It looks like they don't really have to do shit except share other people's channels. So, unfortunately, your guys' job is not that hard. So, but once again, everybody, thanks for stopping. Peace.
Drop that bitch on her head like bang. Drop that bitch on her head like bang.